If you're looking to secure your environment the smart way, adopting a zero-trust approach is the path forward. In this session, you're going to understand the three core principles of zero trust, followed by how Microsoft Entra ID brings those principles to life through its architecture. Each step you take strengthens your defense, one verified identity, one protected session at a time. You can no longer afford to trust someone just because they're on your internal network. With zero trust, you treat every access request as untrusted until proven otherwise. That means every single time someone or something tries to access a resource, you pause and verify the request explicitly. You evaluate who the user is, what device they're using, where they're signing in from, and what resource they're trying to reach. You don't skip steps. You validate every signal before allowing access, ensuring each request is fully trustworthy in its context. For example, even if an employee plugs their corporate laptop into your network, you don't allow access to sensitive data like payroll unless the device is healthy, compliant, and passes all your access policies. You don't give broad access just to make things convenient. Instead, you practice least privilege, which means every user gets only the permissions they need, no more, no less, and only for the time they need them. You do this by implementing just-in-time access, so permissions expire when they're no longer required. You also use just enough access to ensure the scope is limited. Risk-based signals help you dynamically adjust access if something changes. And for sensitive data, you apply controls that protect information at every layer. Imagine someone on your finance team needs payroll access for a one-day task. You don't hand them the keys to the full finance vault. You give them temporary access to just what they need to get the job done securely. You operate with the mindset that a breach is already happening or could happen at any moment. That means you don't just rely on preventative controls. You build resilience into your system by assuming attackers are already inside. You segment access zones so threats can't spread. You encrypt your data end to end, ensuring even if it's intercepted, it can't be read. And you continuously monitor every identity, device, and session using real-time threat detection tools so you can respond instantly to any suspicious activity. Even if someone's credentials are stolen, your zero-trust setup won't let the attacker roam freely. You still require authentication, risk checks, and verification, stopping the breach before it spreads. By applying these three principles, verify explicitly, use least privilege, and assume breach, you're not just locking the doors, you're watching every window and hallway in real time, always adapting, always ready. That's the power of zero trust, and it's in your hands. This diagram represents the full implementation of zero trust using Microsoft Entra ID and its ecosystem. As you move from left to right, you'll see how users and devices are evaluated, policies are enforced, and access is controlled, all based on trust, risk, and continuous monitoring. On the left, everything begins with identities, human or non-human. These are managed by Microsoft Entra ID and Microsoft Entra Permissions Management. Your job is to ensure that only strongly authenticated and verified identities can request access to anything in your environment. Every request gets enhanced with context like location, device health, and risk signals. That way, you're never blindly granting access. You're evaluating every factor in real time. Right below identities, you handle endpoints, whether corporate laptops or personal phones. Using Microsoft Endpoint Manager and Defender for Endpoint, you check device compliance and run risk assessments. This ensures you're not just authenticating the user, but also checking whether their device is secure, patched, and healthy before allowing it to connect to anything valuable. At the center of it all are your zero trust policies, enforced by Microsoft Entra Conditional Access. This is where you define rules that evaluate and enforce access based on user identity, device compliance, location, and risk levels. You use these policies to control who gets access to what and when. It's your real-time, dynamic decision engine. Think of this as your policy enforcement gate. Below the policy engine, you have threat protection, powered by Microsoft Sentinel. This is where you set up continuous monitoring, apply threat intelligence, run forensics, and automate your responses. From here, you can detect anomalies, catch credential theft, stop lateral movement, and quickly respond to incidents. You're not just trusting users. You're watching every move and adapting instantly. To the right of the Zero Trust Policies box, you control access to your internal and external networks using Azure Networking and Microsoft Entra Application Proxy. This is how you enforce traffic filtering, segmentation, and proxy-based inspection to ensure no one enters your network without going through the right gates. This layer helps prevent internal threats from spreading laterally and gives you tight control over what moves where. Next, you reach the apps layer. Here, you're applying adaptive access controls on SaaS and on-premises apps using Microsoft Entra ID and Microsoft Defender for cloud apps. You monitor app usage, detect shadow IT, and enforce policies in real time. You can block downloads, force MFA for high-risk sessions, and monitor everything that interacts with your applications. Just below the apps, you see infrastructure, covering everything from serverless to containers, VMs, and internal sites. You secure all of this with Microsoft Defender for Cloud, ensuring that workloads are monitored, misconfigurations are flagged, and runtime controls are enforced. This is where you ensure your cloud workloads, whether IaaS, PaaS, or hybrid, are following zero trust principles. On the far right, your last line of defense is data. Here, you use Microsoft Purview and Microsoft Defender for Office to classify, label, and encrypt sensitive data. Even if data leaves your environment, its protection travels with it. You're not just securing access, you're protecting the information itself wherever it goes. At the very top, you've got policy optimization tools like Secure Score, Compliance Manager, and Microsoft Defender for Cloud. These help you continuously monitor your security posture, identify gaps, and adjust your governance policies. They give you real-time feedback, so you're not guessing. You're optimizing based on real insights. This architecture isn't just a flowchart. It's your blueprint for enforcing zero trust in the Microsoft ecosystem. You start with verified identities and compliant devices. You apply real-time access controls, monitor continuously, and protect everything, from infrastructure to data, with context-aware security. You don't trust by default. You verify everything. You minimize permissions. And you stay ready always.